We're covering the Olympics because this is a dangerous situation with a confirmed tornado and a confirmed path of damage that is cut across Allegan and Van Buren County. And this storm, the twisting part of this storm is right now on the southwest side of the Grand Rapids metro area. Let me show you velocity. This is a product so we can see the winds within the storm. Right now, the spinning part of this storm is in southeastern and eastern Jamestown Township. It is about to cross M6.
Just now passing over M6, and this is getting closer and closer to Kennewa Avenue Southwest. If you live on 52nd Street Southwest, this is just on the west side of North Byron. Kennewa Avenue Southwest and Wilson Avenue Southwest is the closest intersection I can give you at this time where that rotation is.
If you're watching this from Wyoming or Granville or Kentwood or Northern Byron Township, you got to get in your basement right now. This is a very urgent situation. Appears to be a strong tornado. It's close to the radar site, so we're able to get a good sampling of it, and it is headed straight for the Grand Rapids metro area, in fact, for the city of Grand Rapids. I expect a new tornado warning to come out momentarily that includes the city of Grand Rapids. The sirens have been blaring for 20 minutes now on the southwest side of Grand Rapids, but this is headed for the core, this tornado is headed for the core of the population center in West Michigan as we speak.
This is basically worst case scenario because it continues to strengthen. And you've been noticing that strong gate-to-gate shear. We've also been seeing a debris signature on and off with this system, which means it's actually picking up things on the ground, splitting it apart and lofting it into the air, and the radar is seeing that and giving us that radar CC imagery and scan. So
and
it's
let me
kind of,
interject here. Train Spotter has seen the tornado, M6 and Wilson. And you look at the view from downtown Grand Rapids here. This is our Skycam, we're looking south. Torrential rainfall. I'm frankly kind of surprised the Train Spotter even saw the tornado because you are not going to see it. Gawkers, go inside. This is going to be a rain-wrapped tornado. What I mean by that is you think of these beautiful tornadoes that we see on the plains cruising through farm fields and you can see them from 50 miles away. That's not what this is going to look like. This has rain all around it. This tornado is in the center of the shield of rain, and we're looking straight south, probably right toward that tornado, and we can't see anything. All we see are low clouds, scud clouds, and rain.
You need to be getting inside. You need to be going to your safe spot, especially if you live in Wyoming and if you live in Grandville. Butterworth Street Southwest, M11, this is you. Center of rotation is just south of you and it's tracking northeast. This is going through homes. This is going through neighborhoods now. It's not just farmland anymore. And there is rotation involved.
I don't know where this crew is that's driving right now, but you're listening to us in the booth right now. Make sure these guys are in a safe place. This is not a time to be out cruising around on the road unless they're out of the path of damage. It appears that there's a serious tornado on the ground right now. What's the exact location?
That's the NROT number. That's huge.
That's like El Reno.
That's just north of Rivertown Park. So we're talking about the Rivertown Mall area.
Yeah.
You guys, this is a potentially very large tornado that's on the ground, and it's headed towards the Wyoming area.
On 36th Street at Byron Center, and the tornado is right here, right now. It's right in front of me. It's heading north into Wyoming. Multiple trees down on 36th Street and Byron Center Road. I would say it's about to hit 28th Street, just east of Byron Center Road right now. I'm going to lose visual. Lots of trees down.
If you're watching us right now, you might be wondering, what am I looking at? What are these reds and greens? This is not the typical radar image we show you from a day-to-day basis because this is showing us the wind. This is showing us the most important part of the storm, where that rotation is. And right now, it is right over Wyoming. So Byron Center Avenue Southwest, Burlingame Avenue Southwest, M11, right through Wyoming. You need to get people off the roads, you need to get them into buildings, and you need to take cover because we've seen signatures like this all through Oklahoma in the plains produce quite a bit of damage. And so that's why we're taking this just so seriously.
Make sure you are in the lowest level of your home. Most people have a basement. Get in the basement, get away from windows, get under a shop table, get under some sturdy furniture, grab a bike helmet, put your bike helmet on. Make sure you're in a safe place. Blast the TV so you can hear us downstairs, or bring a radio with. We are simulcasting right now on the Clear Channel, the iHeart radio stations of Wood Radio 1300 and 106.9 FM as we speak, and you can pick up those signals in your basement.
We can hear the intensity. We can see it outside our window.
You can't see much at all.
You can't see much, but you can see the intensity of the rain being whipped around in the trees. And guys, this is actually headed right for our station, so we do need to have a backup plan. You guys do need to be ready. That's everyone in production as well.
Yeah, if we have a tornado looks like it's going to hit the station, what we'll do is we'll leave the radar picture up, and we will we're going to go around the corner here where we're kind of in the middle of the building encapsulated by brick. Roughly the southwest third of the warning is in the clear. So northeastern Kent County, northeast of Knapp's Corner is the dangerous part of the storm right now. This includes all of northeastern Kent County. There's a brand new tornado warning that was just published a few minutes ago for Kent.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a brand new tornado warning, I apologize. For northeastern Kent, but it also includes a sliver of southwestern Montcalm County. Still a very dangerous storm with tight rotation, what we believe is a tornado.
And the difference with this is it looks like this is a radar indicated tornado instead of a confirmed tornado. So it looks like as it passed through downtown Grand Rapids, potentially the buildings weakened it, which is definitely a possibility. Tornadoes can do damage no matter where they track, but some of the sometimes when you get a lot of friction on the ground, it does help to tear apart the base of that funnel, which is a very good thing. So now that it's forming on the other side of the city, we're getting a radar indicated tornado, which means the rotation is still there, and we know what this parent storm can do, but we don't have a confirmation that it's on the ground, which is a very, very good thing because this is headed towards Plainfield. This is headed towards Cannon. Groton also involved in this.
Ellen, yes, we are getting numerous reports of damage along the track of this storm right now. The most reports we're getting is south of Kent County in the Bangor area, where there are a number of trees down, the roof ripped off of one of the township halls there. We do have some live pictures right now that I believe we can show you from Bangor. We're working on getting those, I'm being told. Our crew just getting on the ground there, but we're told there's weather extensive damage there. The good news is at this point, we have no reports of injuries connected to this situation. There are power lines down as well in Jamestown Township. Adams and 20th, we're told that there were power lines down, and you are looking at pictures from that area on the right of your screen right now. Those pictures giving you an idea of trees over the road. Now, when a storm like this moves through, that can be some of the most significant damage that we see is from trees down and power lines down. And a lot of times after a situation like this, we see injuries when folks try to venture out and they run into power lines, which can be difficult to see. So please, if you are going to step out and you are in the clear, be extremely careful and be aware that you could be dealing with down power lines. We're also hearing reports of a lot of flooding as well connected with this situation, roads that are washed over. Remember, if you see water over a road, you don't know if the road is still strong beneath that water.
And that's actually how most flash flood drownings occur, is from people trying to drive through the water because they can't see the pavement underneath. Can we pull that full screen actually? We're looking at live pictures right now of Bangor where the tornado hit about 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half ago, and it looks like, is that a street lamp that's tipped over? Here's some more photos. This is a rural road in Van Buren County with some bigger trees that have been knocked down, and we'll show. There are the live pictures, so you can see some tornado damage there, or at least straight line wind damage. I mean, that's a big steel pipe, so that's going to be some pretty strong winds to be able to do something like that.
This is a breaking news alert from 24-Hour News 8.
Tornado touchdown. At least one twister, maybe more, leaving damage behind.
There's the tornado.
From Van Buren County to Metro Grand Rapids, trees down, destruction, and power outages.
Right now, the emergency response, assessing the damage and making sure everyone is safe.
We got garages and sheds pushed over.
Our crews, your pictures, telling the story of a wild afternoon of wicked weather. Your 24-Hour News 8 coverage continues right now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Marley Ginter. Now at 6, continuing coverage of the violent storm system that appears to have produced several tornadoes, leaving a trail of destruction from Van Buren County to Montcalm County. We have a clear image from radar that shows where rotation was detected. You can see 3 clear paths, making really what appears to be a bear claw across our area. Storm teammate Kyle Underwood is in the air right now, surveying all of the damage. He'll join us live coming up in just a few minutes. Our entire team is here to show you the areas impacted. We want to start with my colleague Brian Sterling at the scene of some of the worst damage in Wyoming tonight. Brian?
Marley, we're here at the area of 36th Street and Byron Center Avenue. This is probably the hardest hit area in the metropolitan Grand Rapids area as far as the tornado system that broke out today. I want to show you some of the damage. Take a look at this. This is just an example of some of what we're dealing with here in this area. Major big trees down on top of the power lines, the telephone lines, the cable. You might be able to hear the chainsaws behind me.
We now want to go to Ken Kolker, who is live in Bangor tonight, where there is also a lot of damage out there. Ken?
Yeah, Marley, we're in downtown Bangor where this tornado first touched down. We're in the area where it first touched down. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of damage here. Here's a number of the signs, a number of the street signs were bent over and broken, snapped off. The new police department here, the roof was torn off the police department.
Not too far away from here, there was another incident over at Rivertown Crossings Mall, and we want to get to our correspondent over there to find out what happened at the mall tonight. Marvis?
Well, we're here, like you said, in Granville, excuse me, and behind me is Rivertown Crossing Mall. Now, you can't see a lot of damage from over here, but we saw a couple trees were hurt. But the main story is that the mall had to evacuate to a safe place. Dozens of people were inside of the mall, and
we're here at 28th Street between Burlingame and Byron Center. You can see here a large tree fell down and has caused extensive damage to this house. This house is more than 100 years old, one of the older homes here in Wyoming, and it suffered extensive damage. That damage goes all the way down the street. This area here in mid to northern Wyoming and into southwestern Grand Rapids really kind of seems to be the epicenter of a lot of the more severe damage. Here's a little bit of what they had to say.
Wind woke me up, so I looked out and it was like a tunnel, and it hit the tree, and then the tree went down across the street.
It was like in a rotation motion. The wind, it was blowing, it was going. I've never seen it. I've never seen it in my life.
At the top of the show, meteorologist Kyle Underwood is in the air right now. We do have him on the phone right now. So Kyle, what are you seeing from that view?
Hey, Marley, we just flew down towards Bangor and saw a definite tornado in Bangor. First actual visual cues that besides what we've seen on radar data that I can confirm for sure this is a tornado. It looked like the path was perhaps 50 yards wide, maybe 100 yards wide at most, and it did some pretty heavy damage on the north side of Bangor. Right now, I'm over Jamestown Township. We're at about 1,500 feet, and I'm seeing tornado damage. I can see squirrels in the field. I can see places where there was definite tornado damage, some trees knocked down. I don't see much structure damage here, but as we flew from Bangor in western Van Buren County up through central Allegan County, I saw some pretty significant tornado damage. But for now, we're 1,500 feet up over Hudsonville. I'm Storm Team 8 meteorologist Kyle Underwood.
All right, Kyle, with his expertise up in the air, thank you for that live report. And thousands are without power tonight after the storm tore down power lines. 24-hour News 8's Leon Hendricks is at the live desk with the latest numbers on those outages. Leon?
Marla, good evening. Tens of thousands, actually. We're pushing 30,000 people in West Michigan without power. And the word at this point from Consumers Energy that they may not be back with power until Monday at the earliest, when we'll see everybody perhaps back on. This is an outage map that gives you an idea of what happened. And if you'll notice, the trajectory that you see here looks very similar to that map we showed you off the top of the show, where we saw the path that these tornadoes took that touched down today. And you can see right along that path is where the outages are taking place.
They announced the tornado over the loudspeaker several times to keep everyone informed where it was, how fast it was moving. Most of the shoppers gathered in the recycling room where you return cans, the return room in the back of the store to wait out the storm. I talked to one family that actually headed to Meyer for shelter because they live at a nearby trailer park and didn't feel safe there.
Well, I called my friend. I was like, should we leave? Should we not leave? Because we kept hearing the sirens. So, yeah, we just decided to just come to Myers.
When's it going to go away?
Do you want it to go away?
It says 3:30. It says we'll be clear.
Okay. Because I never seen a tornado.
This is a breaking news alert from 24-hour News 8.
Now at 6:30, we continue following the latest from the West Michigan tornado that whipped through earlier this afternoon from Van Buren County all the way to Metro Grand Rapids and even into Ionia County. Good evening, everyone. I'm Marley Ginter. We continue our coverage of the West Michigan tornado and the damage it caused across the area. We have our team out in several areas tonight, starting with my colleague Brian Sterling in Wyoming. He's been there surveying some of the worst damage. Brian?
Yeah, Marley, surveying and talking to some of the neighbors here. We're at 36th and Byron Center in Wyoming, the epicenter of some of the major damage here in metropolitan Grand Rapids. I just want to give you, again, a scene setter here. Some of the damage that we're looking at. This will give you an idea of the damage that this storm and these storms caused. This was just one of the areas in West Michigan hit today. My colleague Ken Kolker is in Van Buren County in Bangor, another area hard hit this afternoon. Ken?
Yeah, Brian, this is where the tornado actually first touched down. And we just spoke to a man who said he had a close call with that tornado as it touched down near here. A close call captured on surveillance cameras. Now, he's actually just got home from work. He's sitting in that red pickup truck, his new pickup, when the wind started swirling. Now, it was about then that a tornado appeared in the soybean field next door. He says he waited it out in his truck for what seemed like a long time, was sitting there as the storm actually tore away a small tree. Says he was afraid he would take out the big tree right above him. But he says he was actually more impressed with his truck than the tornado.
It held it steady, pretty much.
Yeah.
I just got it 2 days ago, so it held up a tornado, so I like it.
He was standing outside. He had a Cubs baseball hat on and his umbrella. Both are missing tonight, lifted right out of the air, straight up in the air as he stood there at 36th and Byron Center. Another neighbor, Marley, telling me that they heard the rain coming. And then they heard what sounded like a slow rumbling freight train, and then they started to hear the branches break. That's when they knew this was a big one. Storm Team 8, they deserve a big thanks. They kept everyone up to speed on this, Marley, 20 to 15, 25 minutes ahead of where the storm was going to hit. You had an idea that it was coming, and a lot of folks did credit Storm Team 8 so that they were prepared to be able to get inside and take cover.
So very true, Brian. Those warnings are just critical during these terrible storms. A frightening situation for many, but so relieved to hear that everyone is okay. And we are just now getting some new video in from Storm Team 8's Kyle Underwood above Allegan County. You know, you can see some of the damage there. As Kyle reported live earlier in this show, he says he has seen damage, making it clear that there were several tornadoes. He'll have a full report tonight on 24-Hour News 8 after the Olympics.
Now at 11 o'clock, the damage from above. Multiple twisters break out, carving a path from Bangor to Belding. Tonight, we have the twisters on tape. We're showing it to you as they develop over fields. And taking out power lines. See that bright flash? Thousands remain in the dark tonight. Plus trees down all over on homes, on businesses, and on cars. But thankfully, despite this wild Saturday of weather, everyone is okay. Good evening, I'm Leon Hendricks. Thank you for being with us. Our team has been on the air all day tracking exactly where these tornadoes were headed. Now we're on the ground with what they left behind. Our team coverage continues right now with 24-Hour News 8 anchor Brian Sterling. He's leading our coverage from the field in the hard-hit city of Wyoming. And for them, Brian, it's hard hit again.
Exactly, Leon. We're here at the intersection of 36th and Byron Center, back open tonight after it had been closed down for the majority of the afternoon and the evening as crews work to clear the debris from the roads and get some of the power established here, at least at street level. You can see that the street lights and the traffic lights, they're operating at this intersection tonight, but in the neighborhood behind me, it's still dark. They have no power tonight. If you're familiar with this intersection at 36th and Byron Center, you know where the Family Video and the Little Caesars store is. This is the sign that has been ripped to shreds. There is another chunk of it about 100 yards away. You also had an opportunity, Kyle, to look at the ground, and you got up in the air to look at some of the damage. What'd you see?
Yeah, we tracked the tornadoes and the warnings from about 1 o'clock till about 4 o'clock, and about an hour after the last warning, we got up in an airplane, surveyed the entire damage route, and this was an unusual tornado setup for us because we're used to what we call Michigan tornadoes, where we see these things touch down for just a couple of minutes, perhaps paths of 100, 200 yards, half a mile. This was on the ground, or at least skipping along the ground for perhaps 70, 80, or even 90 miles today. It was strong and well-defined, kind of a long-track tornado, something we don't see a lot in Michigan. And so we wanted to see it right away because an aerial survey is the best way to immediately get feedback on what kind of storm it was and what kind of damage we're talking about here. An hour after the tornado warnings ended, we were in the air. The best way to assess the damage and say without question, this was a tornado. Our aerial survey started in Bangor, and the damage was significant and obvious. We saw large 1 to 2 foot diameter healthy trees snapped like twigs. The True Blue Blueberry Farm had containers spread out for miles, and part of their roof was removed. Into Allegan County, the damage continued. And while homes and buildings did sustain damage, the tornado appeared to track mostly through rural area, swirling farm fields and snapping trees. Our survey also revealed that perhaps there were multiple tornadoes in Allegan County, maybe even at the same time, and the tornado paths could be as wide as 1/3 of a mile. The damage continued into Jamestown Township, Ottawa County, as well as Kent County. Although the evidence wasn't immediately convincing this was a tornado in this area, despite the clear rotation on radar earlier in the day. The National Weather Service will be surveying this area on Sunday.
Tree on the roof back here.
After our aerial tour, we drove through Allegan and Ottawa County, and we talked to homeowners in Jamestown Township who had their property hit pretty hard, likely by a tornado.
It was very scary not knowing what's going to happen. Yeah.
Helpless.
But it didn't last for long. I'd say maybe 5 minutes. And it started letting up. I looked outside. It was still raining heavily. And I thought, well, I think it's clear then. I'm gonna brave to go upstairs and see if our house is still standing. And fortunately it was.
Okay, Brian, as you mentioned, the National Weather Service completed their storm survey, Ionia, Montcalm County. That was a tornado, EF1. I can tell you definitively from what I saw, Allegan, Van Buren County, certainly a tornado, probably multiple tornadoes, or perhaps suction vortices or a multiple vortex tornado with several paths of damage. Ottawa and Kent County, a little less clear, but new since 10 o'clock. I just got off the phone with the National Weather Service, and I can tell you that they've done a partial survey here in Kent County, not published yet, that's coming tomorrow, but they have seen evidence of a tornado here in Kent County. But that makes a lot of sense because all afternoon when we were tracking this storm, we saw debris balls, we saw very tight rotation on radar, so the radar signature lines up with that very well. So it looks like 6 counties total hit by tornadoes with significant.
When I saw that thing circling around like that, I have watched The Wizard of Oz and I know what a twister looks like.
At the south end of one tornado's path, near where it started in Van Buren County.
That whole side of the building is, you can see, about to fall in.
Perhaps the hardest hit spot was True Blue Farms, a family-owned blueberry farm north of Bangor.
It was just like the movies.
Shelley Hartman had heard the weather alert on her phone, saw the storm swirling through the trees.
It was amazing. You could see the debris flying around in there. You could see like tree parts and paper and just debris.
They warned 65 workers to take shelter.
The tornado funnel went like right straight through here, picked that truck up and threw it right on its side.
The storm tossed plastic blueberry carriers called lugs into car windshields. But worst of all, it tore apart a large section of the farm's cold storage building. She hopes they'll be able to save the late season crop.
We're hoping for the best here. And one thing too, amazing, look around at all these people. I mean, people just started showing up saying, what can we do?
It's all our group of growers. We're all very close.
Yeah.
And we always help each other out.
From the blueberry farm, the tornado headed northeast. The twister appeared to drop down here in Columbia Township, heavily damaging part of the Columbia Township Hall, even appearing to fold the tall radio antenna over the top of the building. In Bangor, where it all started, crews were also cleaning up. Downed trees and power lines, toppled streetlights, and a family was trying to get back into their home.
My fence, took out the swing set, took out my garden, took out part of my garden shed. It's scary, don't know what to do, don't know where we're staying.
In Van Buren County, Ken Kolker, 24-Hour News 8.
They headed down to the basement just moments before 2 massive trees fell onto the home, and we got some video of that. Here is what things looked like when we got to 64th Street Southwest near Kuiper Drive. Luke Warber, the homeowner's son, tells me his parents were in Indiana when this whole thing happened, and neighbors alerted his dad. of the damage. This damage was some of the worst that I saw all day as I made my way around West Michigan.
There was a lot of damage in the city of Grand Rapids, in the metropolitan area there. This is what it looked like downtown Lafayette and Franklin. A lot of trees down in that area. A lot of trees down in East Grand Rapids as well tonight. Fortunately, not, again, a lot of significant building damage and no injuries. We do want to let people know that there are a couple of shelters open for those displaced by the storm. Here in Wyoming, the Red Cross, they just opened up a shelter at Lee High School. And in fact, we saw a family walking across the parking lot here with some of their pillows and blankets to take shelter. And in Van Buren County, there's a shelter at First Congregational Church in Grand Junction. So there is help available out there if you need it. We have a lot of storm debris piling up. Of course, in Wyoming, yard waste is a huge issue now. So on Burlingame Avenue, that site to dump the yard waste, they'll be open 24/7 until further notice. And in Grand Rapids, if you want to haul that stuff down to the facility on Butterworth, they'll be open tomorrow on Sunday from 9 until 6. So, Leon, the story again tonight is that this neighborhood here in Wyoming, it's still in the dark. They probably won't have power, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not until Monday. Crews are working around the clock to get that established. But look at the damage. Look at the sign behind me. You can just see how powerful these storms were and how lucky we were for how widespread this weather was, Leon. No one was hurt.
Brian Sterling, live in the field, leading our coverage. One of our many team members called in on their off day to cover this event. Brian, thank you. We want to get you the latest power outage numbers. As some of you are in the dark tonight, you can see the outages show exactly where the strongest winds were. More than 23,000 homes and businesses are in the dark in Kent County. Allegan County has just more than 1,000 without power. Consumers Energy tells us that there are more than 400 power lines down in Kent County alone. It will take until at least Monday to get the power fully restored.